Welcome back to Stevie Wanders the World 50 years ago, week 28. It's starting out in Mersin in Turkey, southern Turkey, on the Mediterranean Sea, which gave it its magic, of course, getting that traffic from the sea forever. It's more sophisticated. Then after a couple of days, heading up towards Istanbul, where I was going to get letters and I was going to decide what the heck I was going to do from there, really, but I was going to go back. So I took the nice Turkish buses, crossed over the famous Bosphorus, get to Istanbul, and there's a lot of adventures there. Finally deciding to head out to the east to Afghanistan instead of going home, which I was thinking of doing. Anyway, let's head on to the particulars. Thank you. Mersin's a pretty cool town, but of course, we're in the sleazy part in a hotel down by the port. It's pretty groovy though. Everything's all right. Took a good crap, washed up. We didn't sleep out as we thought we might because it was raining and it's overcast. But my thoughts are much on home. I don't know. This is going to be hard to keep going on the road, but I think I got to keep moving. I was sitting on a bus in Konya, Turkey, in the midst of crazy Turkey. Lad and I got up in Mersin, got the money changed, climbed on a bus for this town. It was one of the most beautiful drives I've ever experienced, along the gorgeous Mediterranean coast with many clouds, totally overcast, moody. Then the bus headed inland through fantastic mountains of gray stone and much green with winding rivers. Fantastic beauty, crazy Turks, very nosy people. The Turkish buses are very nice, with a conductor who sprays the passengers with slightly scented water to refresh them on the journey. Istanbul, here I come to your famous shores, across your glorious watery entrance. Wow, what a trip. The dawn is setting, another overcast sky, and the water is a filthy dinge of oil and grit outside the ferry. Very soon, we touch the soil of Europe. I've completed my 3-continent tour to seek home and back to a fourth, and then to rest and feel at home, and perhaps to seek it all over again. April 1971, Tuesday, 10 p.m., Istanbul. Stoned out in the Stop Hotel in lousy Istanbul. I can barely write. Hippy scene, many travelers. 14 April, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Yesterday was a very full day. I start walking around Istanbul about 6 a.m. and saw quite a bit of the old winding streets of the city. Sat a while and played my flute for some kids in a little park, and walked over by the Blue Mosque, half-assed looking for a hotel to meet Lad in. Finally, I met some people, 3 from Montreal and an American. I left my backpack with them. I saw my 2 French buddies from Baalbek as I'm walking around, and there they are driving en route to Paris, laden with the hashish Christopher bought on the street as they came driving by me in that little Renault with Daniel sitting shotgun. Daniel swore he wouldn't drive with Christopher since he did not have a stake in the hash and the stash. Perhaps he became a partner. We spoke and I laughed. Another coincidence of the road. I wander off by myself in the old streets and find a Turkish bath in a fancy marble bathhouse deep in the old city streets near to the Bosphorus. In the white marble bathhouse, I had an attendant wash me and then use a pumice rag to pull tons of dead skin and dirt off me. Then the little dark-skinned Turkish guy gave me an incredible massage when he finishes by literally walking up my spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, from my tailbone, holding my feet behind me in an arc. as he came all the way up to my neck. Very beautiful, a once in a lifetime experience. When I come out, I am absolutely floating. Then I make my way to the Blue Mosque, saw its beauty, and the noon Allah trip. The Blue Mosque is just one of those places where everyone goes, and there's kind of a strange scene, believe it, permeating around it. Even though on this particular day, I get to watch the noon Allah trip. Very nice. After fooling around, it brings me down back to some real deal feeling of the spirit of Islam, which is a very impressive realm that does dominate Turkey, even though it's different than it is in Arab places. (14th of April, 1971). I'm still hanging out, sleazy hotel in Istanbul. And I'm leaving out, and I find a lad in front of the pudding shop, my man. We go off to the bazaar together. It really isn't very good. It's just too much for tourists. Then we come back to the sleazy part of town, get stoned, drive around the rest of the day in Istanbul. I'm thinking, I'm going to leave here tomorrow. This is not much reason to stay in this town. But while I'm in the market, I find some strips of leather in the leather area laying discarded. I pick them up. And these small strips were just kind of maybe a half inch across, a couple inches long, and I tie them together and I make a necklace of sorts to hang my flute from around my neck. By tying the leather necklace around the head of the flute, I can keep the flute at an easy place on my chest, I write in my journal, available to play, yet unlikely to lose it or misplace it. These letters were a big deal. They inspired me. It was great to feel the buzz from the home crowd. They didn't all come from Detroit, Michigan. Some came. There's this one from Massachusetts. I was writing to people all over the world. But getting these letters in Istanbul and the promise and commitment that my family would send me more money, that was leading me to the point of going, this is once in a lifetime. I'm heading off. I'm going. Thank you, letters. So I had, as you can see behind me, my handwritten instructions from Larry Glazer, how to get from Istanbul all the way to Kathmandu, where to get the visas, etc. So the first place I had to go after I made up my mind was to get to the Iranian consulate and get a visa. So when I got to the border, they let me in. So I did go there, and I had to wait, of course, give them pictures, go through the regular hassle of travel in this fashion. (17th of April, 1971). It's Saturday in Istanbul. A pleasant day, tying things up. Turkish student ID, mailing small package, American Express letter from my buddy. We party with Peter, Shelley, and Douglas, the Montreal trio, and then they leave off for Israel. Had Afghani shit last night. Wow, jammed a lot with Lad on our flutes, much getting it together, but I think I have all the details done. I got my letters off, I walk about, go to the bazaar a couple times with Lad, and eat as much of our great yogurt at the Senate, our yogurt hangout place. Well, the pudding shop's supposed to be so great, but the best, le meilleur, as my friend Daniel would say, the Frenchman, the meilleur yogurt, the best. We had some great times together, Lad and I. Some of them were a little crazy because Matt would get a little nutso, but I just can think about being with him in many adventures, and I'm sad to say goodbye to my man Lad, but I'm excited to head out to Afghanistan. Week 29, Istanbul to Islamkala. That's the border town of Afghanistan. It's full of adventure. Several days on a train across Turkey, having a coolerator time in the far eastern city in Turkey where the train stops, which is called Erzurum. And then there it is on the star there. And then making my way overland, finally crossing the border, having some crazy adventures in Baku, Iran, making my way on buses, finally getting into the last town across several days of the big, bad Iran, and winding up having a festival of Islamic intensity in Mashhad, making my way from the train station where I found respite with the travelers from the West, and finally making my way on an adventurous bus ride to the border and making it to Afghanistan. Join us next week. Lad and I continue our journey through Turkey. We get on a bus that takes us further west along the coast to Konya. Then the bus heads inland through fantastic gray stone mountains surrounded by every shade of foliage green, and over bridges of winding rivers. I stare out the bus window, taking it all in. Lad and I fall asleep on the bus as the driver continues driving all through the night. It's 6 a.m. as sunrise greets a new day. I yawn, wake, and look out the window to discover we are crossing the Bosphorus into Istanbul. The bus drops us off at a ferryboat harbor. Lad and I split up. He takes a taxi to pick up some things he bought on his travels and had sent here. Now he needs to repackage everything and send it all home. I decide to continue on by myself and meet back up with Lad at an Istanbul student hotel. I purchase a ticket and jump on the ferry boat. Wow, what a trip. Oh, Istanbul, here I come to your famous shores, across your glorious watery entrance. Huge ships float in the Bosphorus Strait, and smaller vessels move about. This is a bustling place, with a myriad of ships moving north and south, up and down the Bosphorus, as well as connecting Asia to Europe. I'm beat from over 17 hours of bus riding from south to north and west across Turkey. We are sailing smoothly over the water as I see ships lining the coast. The sun is peeking through the start of an overcast day. As we near the shore, I look down at the water, a filthy, dingy, dark, milky soup of oil and grit where the ferry boat floats. The crew ties down the boat at the dock. I disembark to touch the shores of Europe once more.